It's like we're sitting in a Faraday cage.
Hi viewers, welcome to iDrum magazine. Today I am delighted to be at London's Forum with the drummer for the UK alt-pop group Everything Everything. He's a fantastic, ambitious, dexterous and highly imaginative player, Mr. Michael Spearman. How you doing, Michael?
Hello.
Good to see you.
And you?
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Cheers.
Now, 2013, we're nearly through to Christmas and it's been a pretty big year for the band, hasn't it? I mean, with the release of the album in January and Glastonbury and this big UK tour and everything. How's it all been going?
It's been pretty non-stop really since the album came out. We did a tour in February and went to America in March and did a load of festivals, most festivals we've ever done. I think did like 35, something like that, all over the UK and Europe. And then this tour we're on at the moment, and then we've got even more at the end of the year. So it's been our busiest year ever, really, but it's been exciting, it's been fun.
Yeah. I mean, the success that you guys have enjoyed up until now, you know, still at a relatively early stage in your career, has been phenomenal, really. And for your sound, it's not typical pop, you know, I mean, if there is such a thing. But, you know, all of these complex rhythms or time signatures and stuff, it sounds like you're doing what you want to do, but you're still achieving this mainstream success.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been very lucky, really. We've managed to strike a balance, and also we're on a major label, which, you know, changes things as well. So we're in this weird middle ground that not many bands are in, whereby we are on Radio 1, but also we hope we make music that is kind of adventurous in a way. And we have so far gotten away with it. I read a review the other day of one of our shows on this tour and they said it shouldn't really work, but it does, and I do sort of think that. I mean,
what do you think they meant by that?
Just the way we kind of put it together, and we have things in there like R&B influences where, you know, we're four white guys from England. I mean, it kind of it should be kind of incongruous, but I think we've been lucky in a way that, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a. We had another review about our first album saying, well, the sheer kind of confidence means they carry it off, if you know what I mean. So I think that helps musically speaking, but also we've been very lucky in the industry, really, with opportunities to come our way and being recognised by managers, labels, awards, stuff like that, which we never really were sure would happen, really. We weren't sure how we'd be taken, and it's worked out, you know, it's worked out really well for us. So.
Well, I mean, the talent obviously shines through, and to me it's sort of encouraging that a band with your sound can achieve that mainstream success. It kind of shows that the mainstream audience still has an imagination, you know.
People do say that to us. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard for us to really know if we don't really set out to do that in a way. Although we definitely do feel like we want to be making pop music, and it should be 3.5 minutes. We want to kind of distill it, and there are lots of ideas in it. But we you know, when we come to make the albums, it's trying to get an idea across. Really, we sometimes worry that we put too many ideas in and it kind of clouds the focus of a song. But I think we're getting better at being more direct, even lyrically and all sorts. And you know, rhythm's actually one of the things whereby it's actually harder. There's a verse in a song called Mikey's Your Boyfriend where it's odd. It's in 4/4, but speaking to kind of muso friends of mine, they would be like, you know, a couple of them said, I wouldn't really count it in 4, and I'd be like, well, that's how I see it. But I think you can get away with adventurous melody and adventurous harmony when the rhythm maybe isn't too crazy, and that's kind of what we've learned. And it's not a bad thing. I don't feel like I've been kind of had to rein anything in that way. I want people to connect with the songs, so you know, if that means just playing doosh, 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 I don't really mind. You know, it's I I think we all want the song to come across. That's the key, you know. So, but yeah, striking that balance. We never want to kind of bland ourselves out. We still want it to be colourful and adventurous and hopefully exciting and whatnot. But yeah, that's our kind of little personal challenge is striking that balance.
Yeah, I think you definitely do strike that still, and there's been a lot of talk of, you know, the comparison between Man Alive and Arc, and how there's been this sort of not watering down, but definitely, like you say, distillation of your ideas. Yeah. But you still hear that sort of restlessness in its experimentation.
Restlessness, definitely, yeah. I mean, maybe less so, because we My Life is frantic, you know. It kind of bamboozles and it goes all over the place, and we did feel like, and also we just got a bit older. Maybe we just felt like we had to tone that down a little bit, not for any particular commercial reasons, more that we just felt like we didn't want to make the same album again, and we wanted to try and write more direct. I don't really like saying pop songs, so it doesn't really mean anything, but more direct songs that people can kind of relate to, connect to, etc., etc. And it doesn't take 15 listens before you can get a grasp on it.
Yeah, know? Sure. I mean, I think they're beautifully crafted songs, all of them, like through both albums. So, and anybody listening to those, both of them, will I'm sure feel the same. How did your approach personally, from a rhythmic perspective and from a drumming perspective, change between the two albums?
Well, I was quite clear that I wanted to simplify it a little bit. John, our singer, John, is a drummer as well.
I read that, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was just a rumour or...
No, we went to school together, and he was having drum lessons like I was at school, and and he's got a particular approach which is quite... I find it sometimes quite awkward and obtuse. Is like when he'll program a demo and he'll have a drum beat on there, and I'm like, I like it. Like it's purely as a drummer, I think it's interesting. But on the second album, I was quite clear that I wanted to just tease out the good parts of, like, so Cough Cough. There's still you know, interesting little bits to it, but there's still the main frame of it, the rhythm, you know, the rhythmic frame of it is graspable, and it's something you've heard before, you know, without being a cliche. So yeah, that balance, striking that balance is the same all the way through, from rhythm, harmony, melody, the lyrics, and I did feel a responsibility with the rhythm side of things, and also. So
you put your foot down.
A little bit. But I really like simple drummers as well, which people are often a bit surprised to hear, because it's not really a simple. There's not that many simple beats on in our music, but I love. Well, we watched Portishead at a festival, 2 festivals actually this summer, and Clyde Deemer just playing really quietly, really simply. I love that stuff, and I used to be into actually quite busy drummers, and in a way I still have a soft spot for people like Vinnie Colaiuta and stuff like that. I think it's incredible stuff. But I don't know, as I get older I sort of think that I'm more a fan of songs, and I'm more a fan of just serving the song. I know a lot of people say that, but and maybe it's a cliche, but I do think that, and I don't want to get in the way of it. I don't want it to be a jarring thing, you know. So
I think there's a time and a place for both, and there will always be an audience for both as well. So
yeah, I'm really lucky. Like, this is a good gig for a drummer. It's like, you know, like we play Waits at the moment, which is the last song on the first album, and there's loads of like just fun little corners to it, and I don't know. Another thing for the new album, drum wise, that I wanted to like try and get into was the drum sound, and having a bit more of a roomy sound, and, you know, a bit more air moving, because the first one, although there's kind of a lot of R&B influence on it, and we wanted that kind of crispness and kind of slickness to it, I sort of thought, well, we've done that to some extent, and I don't really want to do that again. I want it to be a bit more live sounding. So we had the same producer, David Costin, and we had loads of microphones in the room, and old ones, cheap ones, expensive ones. It's a total mixture, and we ended up taking, you know, sometimes like not a great, like really quite a bad sound, and mixing it with something more kind of hi-fi, and I really like that stuff, you know. We do that in general. We'll use like a totally kind of basic keyboard sound from a Casio next to something which is we've spent ages on, and it's really kind of refined or whatnot. We like putting that stuff together. It's the same with drums, really.
So do you have, I was going to ask earlier, do you have a sort of a very significant role within the sort of designing the sounds of the band, the programming and that sort of stuff as well?
It's a mixture, really, because John sometimes, how we normally write is John will write a demo on his laptop, and we kind of reverse engineer it, because which is a problem. It's a good problem, but it's a problem because he might fall in love with a particular drum sound that he's made, but he tries not to go too far into it, but sometimes it does happen, and then when I play that on an acoustic drum kit in just a rehearsal room, it just doesn't sound as good. Like, that's just, the fact of it, because you've got all these different frequencies flying all over the place. With a programmed drum beat, it's really neat and tidy, and you can get this little thing going. So yeah, in that process, things get changed anyway, but I try not to rely on a drum sound for a song, if you know what I mean. We try and kind of make it work as a song in the rehearsal room, and then when we've got it kind of close enough, and we can sort of go, well, we'll make it sound a bit more like this when we get in the studio, then we feel like it's okay. But we never want to be like, well, this song will work if we can get the keyboard sound right or the drum sound right. Then you kind of know that you've got a problem then, we find. So once we get into the studio, I know my own mind about drum sounds, but I wouldn't say I'm, like, Alex and John are more into the production side of things, and obviously we have a producer, so I think if there's too much, too many production minds on it, it can get a bit too many cooks or whatever. But certainly drum sound wise, I get what I want, which is nice.
Okay.
And I've never really. I mean, obviously, as you go on, you kind of go, oh, maybe if we've done that again, maybe I'll change this and that. But that's always going to be the case. It's the case with songs on the album. It's the case with every part of it that we. But if it's very rare where a band goes, it's absolutely perfect, we wouldn't change anything. It keeps you wanting to do more by the fact that you can go back and say, yeah, we can make it better.
And the fact that you use electronics live, your various pads and things, that must help.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we do, when we're in the rehearsal room, we like, I've only got a snare trigger, but then I've got a Roland SBS for other bits and bobs. So we will, we'll get close to a sort of idea of a sound there. Sometimes, we'll talk about maybe the verse being just on here or whatnot. But I don't know. I don't love doing that, to be honest. I sort of I'm kind of a bit old school in that sense.
You're not a fan of using the pads?
I do. I mean, no, I think it's fine. But I wouldn't want to be writing a song around it. And also, it kind of sometimes doesn't feel like drumming to me. I don't know. The physicality of it is so different that it's a tool and it's there, but I don't know. I would never really want it to overtake too much. Really, I kind of like the drum kit being a kind of capsule, and often we talk about kind of adding bits and bobs to it, and I'm always like, I'd rather not, because I've got a pad there, I've got a trigger, I've got 9 pads there. I sort of already feel like that's I kind of just want to make that work, if you know what I mean. I don't want to have too many add-ons, even with acoustic drums and cymbals. I've added one 18-inch tom, which is a bit of a luxury, to be honest. I could do without it, but I like to have it. But apart from that, I do like the limitations of a traditional drum kit in a way.
Well, your kit is still very minimal, isn't it, compared to?
I think so. Yeah, it's kind of traditional setup, really. Yeah. What I learnt on.
I can relate to what you're saying about the pads and things not having. You don't get a response from them in the same way that you do from an acoustic kit. You can feel the air move. You can get that instant feedback from an acoustic
Totally.
kit.
I mean, I do think they're a useful thing, and obviously, if people need to have an electronic drum kit to practice on and stuff like that for practical reasons, and I totally get that. But I do think there's a physicality of hitting drums and kind of how they absorb the energy, and it just makes you play differently. And it's something like, I came from a jazz background, and that's all about just touch and and the subtleties of like I'd play at college. I'd play on one drum kit. I'd play kind of pretty differently to the drum kit in the next room, because maybe the heads are a bit tighter, or the drums are bigger so they absorb more, whatnot. And I do like those little subtleties. This was the first band where I've really had to hit that quite hard, and you know, every backbeat's a rim shot and stuff like that, and that's fine. But actually, I do sometimes miss the kind of variation in sound and feel that you can get from kind of not doing that all the time. But yeah, that's fine.
Pieces colliding and I see you rain in the